Hello everyone, and welcome to Utopia, a fantasy land of tons of interesting animals and plants to feast your eyes upon. So this is a food chain simulator I've been working on for a few days, and if you look in the upper right, there is a food chain, and you can see that it all starts out with the sun. And then we have two types of flowers. We have this pink flower right here, which grows in the lowlands, and then we also have the spiky cyan flower, which is called the ice. Oh, they're already extinct. Damn. Why are they extinct so fast?
The question of this video, if left to their own devices, can these creatures keep themselves from going extinct? Clearly they're off to a bad start, but let's keep the experiment going anyway.
Okay, we're back. So the ice flower is, well, there's one over there. Oh, don't eat it. Oh my god, they're gonna eat it before I get to it. Okay, I gotta find another one. Okay, this here is an ice flower. Okay, he ate that one too. So these are ice flowers, and you can see on the stems there's a light part and a dark part. And whenever the dark part reaches the ground level, it reproduces. You can also see how fast the plants grow by how fast they're spinning. And the ice flower will grow the fastest the closer it is to the gray elevation level. So down here in the grasslands, see how slow these guys are spinning? It's because that's not their natural habitat. Whereas with the pink flowers, they like the grass. They grow faster, they spin faster in the green. Whereas if the ones who are higher up on the stone, like these are struggling and they're getting eaten by the orange cows. So you can see that because the ice flowers grow fastest on the stone, they're starting to create a little like garden up here. It's like really lush with all the spiky orange or spiky cyan flowers. Wait, there's 300 of them now. Okay, there's too many of them. Let's restart. Let me introduce you to the herbivores. So first we have this yellow cow right here who's taking a swim. They eat pink flowers because they're also a warm color. So he's heading to eat that one. Chomp. And that's the only way they get their sustenance. On the other hand, we also have this teal cow. They eat the ice flowers because they're also cyan. So those are our two herbivores. Animals are way more complicated than plants, so how did I model their behavior? Well, if you look on the right side of the screen, you can see I've listed 5 priorities that they want to do. There's hunger for food, thirst for water, freaky for finding other mates, eepy for sleeping, and then flee monsters. Hunger, thirst, and freaky slowly fill up as their bodies need those demands more and more, whereas flee monsters is dependent on how close the nearest predator is, and eepy is dependent on the day-night cycle. Take note that this means the hunger bar in this simulation is reversed from what you normally see in games like Raft, where emptiness means death. Think of the hunger bar filling as it taking more urgency in the creature's brain, and when the hunger bar is fully filled, that's when the creature dies. I did this to make it more consistent with other priorities like flea monster and sleepiness, but in retrospect, I still find it confusing and maybe I'll flip it again in a later version. Anyway, back to the video. Whichever progress bar is the most filled up takes complete control. These guys can't multitask. The red and green arrows tell you what the creature is avoiding or going towards, so right now he's running away from these red predators who are trying to eat him. And as long as those predators are within a 3-block radius, that will be one of the top priorities, as you can see on the left. And they're catching up, so it's not looking great, but, you know, it depends. Maybe he can outrun it. I actually don't know. Like, it's getting really close. Aww.
As you could tell from that gruesome footage, this video is not for kids. But also, check out this audio glitch that happened a few days ago.
So notice, oh my god, what the hell? Wait, why is there so much eating sounds? I don't understand. No one is eating that much. Is it because of me? No, it's not because of me. Who's eating? Who is having a feast out there? Is it you? What are you doing? You're eepy. Everyone's eepy right now. Man, everyone's... Is this person... Bro, I don't understand this. What is going on? Who is eating? Okay, there's clearly a bug because I think everyone's sleeping in the middle of the night. Isn't bug fixing your own code so fun? And while we're on the topic, here's another bug that involved matrix transformations. Okay, I tried to implement the feature where the creatures tilt to match the slope of the land they're on, but they're not doing it right. And I'm not mad, I'm just a bit disappointed in them. Can't they do better than this? This is not realistic. Stop, please stop that. This is not how you walk. I'm gonna do this right, this is stupid. Also, these sound effects are a little too loud. Okay, But don't worry, I got all those bugs fixed. Let's see how these creatures, who are healthy now, live their lives. Let's follow Evolvio's life. At the start, her thirst is her highest priority, so she runs to the water hole to take a swig. That lowers thirst by 40%, allowing hunger to take the top spot, so she targets the nearest pink flower to eat it. The flower is nourishing, so hunger falls below thirst again. Thirsty Evolvio runs to the waterhole again, but along the way, a red predator gets close, making flea predators take over as Evolvio's top priority so she avoids getting eaten. Fortunately, the predators went after some teal cows instead, so Evolvio is able to quench her thirst without getting too close to the monsters. Now, after finally feeling satiated, Evolvio's freakiness is at the top of her mind. She finds a mate and produces a baby. However, 1/3 of her biomass went into the baby, so she's famished again and heads for the flower patch, abandoning her baby in the waterhole. I'm not quite sure why she didn't just go after this nearer patch, since animals are supposed to target their nearest prey, but whatever. Now that food is abundant and fellow yellow cows are abundant, Evolvio can alternate between eating and producing offspring at record pace. Occasionally, thirst forces everyone back to the waterhole, which I like to think of as like an emergency meeting in Among Us. It's an event that brings otherwise isolated parties together, and when rival factions are forced together, that's when shit goes down. Also, in my code, freaky animals simply angle their bodies toward their target and run forward, in the hopes of reaching their target. I didn't realize that just makes them identical to gravitation and orbital mechanics. Fortunately for Evolvio, I added some trajectory predicting and dampening effects that allowed two bodies to meet in the middle. But before I did all that, freaky animals sometimes did just orbit each other forever. Now, when I watch nature documentaries, I sometimes find animals' mating rituals ostentatious and unnecessarily calorie consuming. But I had no idea I would end up implementing the same exact thing. In some ways, you could think of Utopia as a remake of Evolvio, my life simulation project from 2016 that was my first attempt delving into neural networks. While Utopia is cooler, cuter, and has one extra dimension, it doesn't feature any machine learning. Creatures' brains are locked in the moment you click play. And that's because Evolvio's neural networks were mostly an over-engineered failure, with no creatures ever developing more advanced strategies than move fast over water and eat always. Even strategies as simple as predation or avoiding predation never happened. So, for the sake of simplicity, I went with a 5-priority list for Utopia, which produces results I think we can all agree look more coherent. Maybe someday I could add some type of learning to these cows, but not today. Part of the reason I wanted to make this simulator is to see if emergent behaviors would show up, kind of like the phase flow that 3Blue1Brown discussed in his vector field videos. Will the 5 populations of Utopia reach an equilibrium, balance forever, or will one of them shoot off to infinity? Let's find out.
Simulation number 1. Everything as normal.
Hello everyone, it's about 2 AM on day 1 and I want to run the simulation as long as possible to see what happens long term. But check it out, this cow is sleeping, but thirstiness is growing in his body. His brain's like, wake up, you need to take a drink of water before you parch to death. Oh wait, but there's a predator. Just when he was about to take a drink, the predator came, and it's like, kind of like guarding the pond. Anyway, you can check the oh my god, he's like hiding in the water. That's actually like sinister. You can check the population graph in the lower right to see the population counts of each species. So there's 24 pink flowers, 22 ice flowers, and so on. I remember learning this rule in AP Environmental Science, that every level of the food chain should have 10 times fewer calories than the level below it. Meaning if you have a wheat field, it should have 10 times, or a grass field, it should have 10 times as many calories as the cow level above it, and then that should have 10 times as many as the humans who eat the cows above that. Which makes sense because cows will expend so much calories just on their homeostasis staying alive. But it seems to be the case right now because there are over 100 of both flowers combined. That's the lowest level. And then for each of the cows beneath them, there's fewer, like maybe a couple dozen. Also, you can tell how much food is in each animal's body by seeing the thickness of their body. So this one's like a real chonker in the back. And as they eat plants, you can see them getting like a little wider. Oh, they're getting sleepy again because I guess the second night is it's only 4 p.m. Don't sleep yet. There's only 5 ice flowers right now. Only 3. Okay, so that's actually a problem. Wait, everyone's sleeping here. Why is everyone's like literally a food coma or something? There's 3 ice flowers left. See, 1, 2, 3. But if that reaches 0, that spells doom. Oh my god, do not eat these last 2. There's 3 ice flowers left. If you eat the last of your food supply, you literally have no chance of survival. Like death will be on your doorstep. But they're all sleeping because they're all well fed and it's around 9 p.m. But also as night falls, the plants will also grow slower. If that gets eaten, it's over. They're done. These guys are all... See, the ones who are awake, they're not sleeping, but they also know there's no food option, but they're just like, I'm hungry, but there's nowhere to go to find food. Whereas the ones who... Wait, they're all... Okay, so you see, like, the ones who are sleeping... The ones who are awake are the ones who are like, I'm in danger. And they're all slowly waking up and realizing there's just... What do we even do? Anyway, it looks like the number of yellow cows is growing. This is a different chain of the... What's happening? There's a lot of sounds. There's like 68 of these. They also ate all the pink flowers. But did you notice how when there was a surge in orange cows just now, it corresponded with an immediate drop to the pink flowers, and that just plummeted to 0 really fast. Now, all herbivores are doomed to die because there's no food. Oh, look how thin they're getting. Wait, that's actually like scary to look at. I'm really scared. So it's kind of the inverse of the normal hunger bar, where actually the more filled in the bar is, it means the more urgent it is to find food right now. And when that bar looks fully filled up, then the animal will die. So I guess if I walk around, like this guy is like really close because his bar is really filled up. And there's 10 predators right now who actually have quite a few options to eat from, but they will soon... Oh yeah, when the predator comes, everyone jumps away. But yeah, these animals will start like starving to death. But the predators are also doomed because they can only eat from a depleting supply as well. So like this guy, he's like chasing after these thin cows, but like how long will that last? So I think what this is a sign is that, I don't know, maybe the animals eat too quickly and they deplete the supply too fast. So maybe I should tinker with the code to add a bit more, I don't know, ability to resist hunger. Maybe hunger shouldn't like come and hit them so fast. There's only one cow left. See that cow in the distance? Oh, it's the only one. And now the predators themselves are frozen in place as they're waiting for food, and it will never arrive. Wait, that guy's jumping around. Actual environment. This is like a desolate world. This is the result of greed. It's basically an Aesop fable about why you should not be too greedy, because eventually the world will become a barren wasteland. They only survived 48 hours. So that guy's probably gonna die. Yeah, he died first, and then this guy will die like in just seconds. And then that guy over there, how long can he survive? Maybe he had one of the final meals. He ate the last cow, which is why like it was able to tide him along the longest. Hopefully, if I tinker with, yeah, goodbye, rest in peace. I tinker with the numbers, I can create an ecosystem that survives longer than that.
Simulation number 2. A splash of Ozempic.
Alright, I've added edits to the code so that these creatures should get fewer hunger cravings now, and when they do eat, they should feel full for longer. And also, just to add some visual distinction, the water now has the chemicals of Ozempic in the water, so they look purple. But as a disclaimer, I'm not a medical expert in any way, so I have nothing of value to say about Ozempic itself. This is merely an experiment in this fictional world. Why are these guys trying to climb this huge cliff? Anyway, right now it's still 5 a.m, so a lot of people, like this red predator, are sleeping, but now it's thirsty, and now it's hungry. But look, he's about to eat, but look, his stomach was fully filled after just one meal. Now he wants to mate and create a baby with the other predator. Oh, actually that is one thing that happens. They had twins right there. So when both partners are like feeling, you know, like they want to have a child, then they'll have 2 children at once. So, you know, he's chasing after it. Hunger's quite high for him, but I think 1 meal should be enough if he can. Okay, well, yeah, I guess also the amount of nutrients you get from a meal depends very much on how big the animal you eat is. And the same thing is true for the herbivores as well. When they are... What's happening? Oh wait, they ate... There's no pink flowers left, so the same thing happened. But there's a lot of the icy flowers here. So anyway, when the herbivores eat food, if they eat a small flower, they don't gain many nutrients either. But, oh, this is like... Okay, so there's 33... teal cows, but the ice flower population is not doing that well. They're only at 25. There's quite a migration and a lot of thin yellow cows happening here. Let's see if they can maintain the population for a little longer and not feel the urge to eat so much. Okay, actually the same thing is happening. So clearly, okay, it's just there's too many of them. Like they're all, there's not enough food to go around. So I don't blame them. I'm kind of surprised. Okay, yeah, so now there's no plants left. Same outcome as before. I guess this time the teal cows lasted longer. Oh wait, what is? Oh, this person's thirsty. So just because there's no food doesn't mean that people can't be thirsty as well. So if you need to drink and you're hungry, you gotta drink first. So that can still happen. See, there we go. Well, that concludes simulation 2. Conclusion: decreasing the speed of hunger did not help prevent mass extinction, nor did it even delay it. For my next attempt, I'm going to refer to the food chain pyramid thingy for inspiration.
Simulation number 3. Mother Nature's special sauce.
Alright, you know what I realized? It doesn't even matter how many hunger cravings these creatures have, because all the nutrients just come downstream from the plants themselves. So maybe the real solution to all of this is just to make the plants grow 25% faster. So that's what I did for the edit for this simulation. So you can see they're spinning quite fast. And to visualize that, I made the watercolor brown because it's like fertilizer. Why is everyone sleeping in the water? So you can imagine with the fertilizer, it's sort of seeping through the soil and making it so that these flowers growing right next to the soil can actually grow faster. And so even if the animals develop a huge herd and eat, huge swaths of plants, they can just replenish themselves just a little bit more. So if we look in the line chart in the lower right, we should see the sort of exponential base that it grows by to be just a little faster. So the ice flowers, they're climbing from the 80s probably soon to the 90s, and maybe the teal cows will start to notice that and start to take off. Things are looking pretty healthy. Actually, it's pretty rare that both the two lineages are have good populations. Usually I would find that either the ice flowers or the pink flowers one would live really well and the other would die off really quickly, because maybe there wouldn't be enough mountains in the map, or maybe there wouldn't be enough lowlands, but this one has a decent amount of mountains over here, and a good amount of water and lowlands down here. As sunset kind of hits on day 1, it's about 5:30 p.m., plant life is going to start slowing in growth, but I noticed that both cow populations are also stabilizing in the 30s, which is actually a pretty healthy amount. It's a number higher than n equals 30 for the central limit theorem, so random fluctuations, like random creatures just being dumb, shouldn't destroy the species population completely, right? They're sleepy and they're kind of hungry, but I mean, as the night goes on, they'll get more and more desperately hungry, and he's gonna wake up. See, he's woken up because he needs to eat, but there's an endless supply of plants. So in the wee hours of the morning, it's around 2 a.m., plant life still grows very, very slowly, but animals are starting to get hungry in their fast. The plant life populations are actually declining kind of worryingly fast, but it's around almost 4:30 a.m. Once we hit 6 a.m., we'll be at 50% sunlight, which means 50% growth speed, and hopefully they can replenish. I noticed that the herbivores like to cluster. So all the yellow cows are over here. Oh, that's because that's where the patch of pink flowers is. And then all the teal cows are over here. All those sci-fi sounds, like the blah, 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 that's the sound of a baby being born. This whole mountainside is just covered. It's like watching, a stampede of bison going up and down. They're kind of going between food and water. So if we watch this guy, he's fleeing monsters, but right now, usually they're alternating between being hungry and thirsty, but this one's running away from I guess there's some predators in the water again. Okay, so now there's 154 teal cows, and then my frame rate is starting to drop. Oh, okay, so the problem here, actually the pink flowers are extinct. Oh no. Wait, also there's hundreds of yellow cows over there, so actually all the cows have eaten all their food supply, so okay, I don't think the ice flowers are going to survive much longer here either, but we did get to a higher max population before that happened. And there's just tons of stomping sounds, tons of eating sounds, and tons of frozen yellow cows. And well, this is a record at least. At least they're making it to the end of day 3 with a hardy population. But wait, why are they eating them? I feel like they could be eating, but maybe they're all well fed or something, or maybe they're just being very respectful. Because there's still a good amount of 23 ice flowers that are not being eaten, and it's kind of holding steady. Do you notice how the cyan line is holding steady and it's horizontal for the most part? Why are they not eating these? Why is it so loud here? People are being very polite or something. Well, there's only 7 of them now, so I guess the politeness. Well, maybe they learned the lesson from last time, even though it's not possible because there's no learning. But it's good for the species if these flowers never get eaten. Nope, they're gone. So all that jumping is for nothing. All that respectfulness, it was just moot point, and now the same thing's gonna happen. But at least they made it to day 3. This is the first time we've seen any living creatures make it to day 3. The yellow cows are very low in number, and they're all looking quite emaciated, but it's interesting watching the predators come to a sleeping crowd and wake them all up. There's still a triple-digit number of teal cows, but they're all, very hungry and they're not going to live much longer. This is probably the last yellow cow in existence, or there are 3 of them in shot. There's only 2 of them in shot now, and that's the last yellow cow. Let's say goodbye before it's over. And now there's 81, but there's 54 red predators. And notice that it's still increasing. There's 55 predators now. So every trophic level up the food pyramid you go, there's like maybe about a day of delay between repercussions of results. So it's like when there's a big catastrophic extinction, you won't see them move up the trophic levels for about a day. There's only 15 teal cows left and 59 predators fighting for them. So you can see there's basically like 6 predators fighting after 1 cow, and that's just not sustainable. And now we have, I think, just 1 cow left, and well, if you look at the whole world, if we zoom out, there's just a lot of red and not much else. Also, the world loops over. It's like hyperspace. I guess they just gave up. Their sense of balance is just incredible. How are you not falling? The grip on your feet. That grass must have a lot of friction or something. But even that being said, a sad yet inevitable outcome.
Alright, those simulations were fun, but what's the takeaway? Well, let me show you a phenomenon that kept popping up run after run. A fingerprint showing the way Utopia's ecosystem truly ticks. This is my explanation of the mysterious nighttime surge. Look at this landscape. This is what stability looks like. Interestingly, it's during the daytime that things are most manageable, even though that's the time period with the most activity. But when night falls, everything changes. In the early evening, it starts with an eerie silence as all the animals go to sleep. Perhaps they had a hearty dinner, keeping their hunger urgency low, below sleepiness. By midnight, it's been a good 4 hours since most animals ate, and their hunger urgency is rising. A few animals stir for a midnight snack. What they don't realize is everyone else is thinking the same thing. By 2 a.m., the dead of night, most of the population is awake again. If that were it, maybe the ecosystem could handle it. But there's a side effect of bringing all these animal bodies into the flower patch together. If 2 cows have finished their snack, and they're near each other, and they haven't dealt with their freakiness in 6 hours, well, you know what happens next. Now it's 3 a.m., the cow population has surged, and all these new baby cows need to eat. But flowers are in limited supply. They're outnumbered 10 to 1, and they sure don't grow when the sun isn't shining. Baby cows are ravenous, parent cows are ravenous. The result, impending extinction. This pink flower is one of the last remaining on the planet, and now nearly 300 cows' lives depend on it. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, at this point, you know how the story goes, because you've seen it a million times before. They all run out of food, but they're still hungry, so they freeze in their tracks with a smile on their face, before slowly starving to death, and then the predators starve to death on top of them. But anyway, that is my attempt at explaining why there's always a nighttime surge in population that eventually leads to inevitable collapse of the entire ecosystem. Thank you for watching me ramble about my food chain simulator in the world of Utopia. I had a lot of fun coding it, which was in Java, or more specifically, Processing 4.1. And before you go, are any of you interested in the story of Silicon Valley, what it's like to be a Stanford student, or how it feels to do a complete 180 from the corporate tech world to doing a more artistic content creation life? I ask because my friend Emily and I started a podcast called Control-Alt-Create where we talk about stuff like that, and our first episode called Is Stanford a Scam is already out. It's like, do you think there were classes that taught you how to advocate for yourself or write a pitch deck?
Well, I think for me, college allowed me to explore a lot of my interests in a more freeing way, which is how I discovered that my passion was game development.
So go watch it. All right, thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!